In this episode of Winning Ways, we are going to be talking to Karthik Tirupati, the CEO of Napier Healthcare, an integrated healthcare IT solutions company. Karthik comes with over 2 decades of experience, having worked with many MNCs in the area of enterprise software solutions, and he has also been an entrepreneur himself. We talked to him about what makes Napier Healthcare tick today in the healthcare IT segment and what are his winning ways and formulas for the startups. Karthik, welcome to Winning Ways.
Thank you.
Thanks for giving us the time. What's been happening at Napier these days? What's keeping you busy?
I think we are a exciting startup in a small country. Singapore has a population of about 5.7 million people, and healthcare needs are directly proportional to the number of people in a country. So what ends up happening for us is, being in the business, we have to willy-nilly look for growth opportunities outside and off the shores of Singapore. So we are right now in a bid to look at how we could find growth in global markets way beyond Singapore shores. It has taken us successfully to the US last year, and this year we are considering some of the markets in Middle East, Turkey and Africa and other emerging places. There was a throwback to the olden days when someone said that we should also look at Europe, because that's a growth market. I am not sure that's something that people generally look at it that way, but that's kind of what keeps us busy these days, looking for growth in the enterprise and how do you drive growth. And along with it also comes about, an angle of how do you want to innovate in the markets, because mature markets also can give you growth if you look for the right opportunity.
So in the healthcare segment, IT segment, I mean, what are the services that you provide? I mean, what exactly is the area where you operate in?
We are basically, I would loathe to call ourselves a healthcare IT product company as such. The positioning I want us to take is to say, we identify problems and apply technology to solve them. So today, if you see, there are a few issues that healthcare providers face. Foremost amongst them is the lack of availability of people, and this is true of small countries like us in Singapore, and it's also equally true of countries, large countries like India, where finding the doctors, finding the healthcare specialists, allied care providers like the nurses, the lab techs, the radiologists, and all of that is becoming a challenge. In larger countries, people want to live only in the large cities, so the smaller and the rural part of those countries get diminished levels of healthcare services. So that's one area where we are trying to solve. How do you apply technology in such a way that you can actually increase the productivity, do more with less? Simple things come to our mind, like telemedicine, for example. Telemedicine can basically kill the distance between the doctor and the patient. You can provide care over thousands of miles, not just someone within the same city as well. So I think those are some of the things that we are looking at. Two key drivers that we see in healthcare today are the pressure on acute care facilities like hospitals to do more. But there is also an element hidden underneath that, which is people go to a hospital on their own and want to seek interventions even though they may not need it. So that is creating a lot of pressure on the hospitals. Secondly is the trend of elderly percentage in the population across all mature and developed countries. So in the first instance, hospitals are now trying to inch closer to the community, and closer to the community comes in the form of telemedicine as an example. You're also looking at some of the other changes in the business models. People are coming up with step-down care, community hospitals, nursing home, palliative care, hospices, and whatever you have that can actually bring the hospital closer to the community. So projecting the hospital into the community, and that's not easy without usage of technology. technology, and that's where we have a lot of solutions in those cases. On the other hand, where you're talking of elderly, I think elderly care comes in predominantly, in my view. I think the healthcare industry is shifting to a position where they're looking at how do I prevent the elderly from falling sick, not trying to take care of their health after they have fallen sick. So in many ways, we are trying to move from sick care to healthcare in the way it ought to be redefined. So those are the two areas where there is a lot of move in the healthcare industry, and that's where we are trying to come up with usage of technology and solutions very aggressively.
So overall, I mean, how would you define innovation?
I would actually not say our sector is very prone to a lot of technology usage. Consequently, technology innovation must be very sharp and focused. As an example, healthcare probably invests globally between 1 to 2% of its revenues on IT and technology. This is as opposed to banks, which I am told are around 15 to 17%. So there is a huge gap between what other industries do versus what we do. In the provider segment, in the acute care hospital segment, that means that I have to take care of the key constituency, which happens to be the doctors and increasingly the nurses as well, because they are looking to see how can I make best use of information and still deliver the same level of care. One of the recurrent themes you will hear in the healthcare industry is I need to spend more time with the patient. I don't need to be sitting on a computer entering data. So what can I do to take that away? So I think that patient experience is slowly becoming the center of our universe. What can we do to make sure that patient experience is enriched? At the same time, taking on my earlier theme I mentioned about the preventative healthcare, we also need to make sure that you are able to predict in a group of people within the society or the community, saying that if these are the symptoms they have and this is the age profile, the chances are 10-15 years from now these are the disease patterns that they would have, and so what should I do today to ensure that they don't get there? Things like diabetes, chronic illnesses. As a society moves from in the epidemiological curve, as it moves from having less money to more money, the disease patterns also change. You are no longer suffering from malaria and cholera and tuberculosis, but you are suffering from diabetes and asthma and some of those chronic illnesses.
So with the thrust on primary healthcare in a lot of developing countries like India and probably Indonesia around this region, do you see a lot of potential for Napier in the coming days?
Primary healthcare is huge in terms of volume, but I have not seen anyone come up with a business model that kind of takes advantage of it. So three reasons for that. The providers themselves, especially in countries like Indonesia and India, which you pointed out, 80% of the healthcare is actually driven by the private sector. And it's true that private sector is a free market, but there is also a social angle which people miss out when you privatize a sector in that sense. Hospitals are loath to going into rural communities because there is not enough money for them, and therefore you are then dependent on the NGOs and the VWOs to carry healthcare into the rural societies. But there is a huge market waiting to be tapped, but I have not come across any hospital that is able to break the mold and go into that segment yet in a way that it stands out, saying that I am the rural healthcare specialist.
You've been there, I mean, in the space of technology and later with EDB and all that. So in today's times, I mean, what do you think? I mean, with so much of buzz around startups and entrepreneurship, what do you think are the three key factors that would determine success?
I think every startup has to have an idea, a spark that basically solves a problem in the industry. Today, a lot of startups are Me Too kind of startups, and Me Too kind of startups with a small variation here or there. I'm on local university's incubation and innovation center as a guide and advisor to a few businesses, startups. But what I find is they have marginal innovation. You take a little bit here, tweak it a little, and say, now I'm adding value. That seldom brings you the level of success that a startup should and want to crave for. Startups will succeed if they have a unique idea, number one. But a unique idea in itself, in my experience, does not give you the success. Success comes only from scalability. Unless and until someone from day one primes their ideas and builds a business to a level where scalability can be achieved, I think most startups fail on their way, and that's where they all end up in the wrong side, because they have not thought of how to scale. Getting the first customer, getting the first 5 customers, getting 10 customers is okay, but that will not give you scale. You have to get to level where you are in hundreds of customers. And I think that, to me, scalability is the only goal that a startup must aim for from the beginning. Identify a space which can scale so beautifully and execute flawlessly.
Thank you, Karthik.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining.